morning sunshine, rocking the good time with all our friends. Easy and carefree, out in the summer breeze, loving a simple thanks for hours on end. Right about sundown, we lay on the ground, count on the stars as they come out one at a time. Ain't this a sweet life?
Hey everybody, I'm X Factor winner Tate Stevens, and welcome to the Sweet Life Podcast, where we talk about everything from music, sports, food, entertainment, and, well, just living the sweet life. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in today. AJ, look.
Yeah.
We've this is episode number 5. Can't believe it's been 5 already, right?
Yeah.
We're just cooking along. I mean, I don't know how fast it's going, but we're cooking along. Anyway, so episode number 5. This is we just need to talk about some stuff that's going on. You know, we're in the middle of winter right here. Everybody's feeling it, unless you live like in Florida, you know, or Mexico or the Bahamas or, you know, somewhere where it's always warm. Mm-hmm. But 90% of the country, our country anyway, is like snowed in and iced over. So, yeah, you know, where's the global warming thing at, by the way? Because we could use a little bit of it, turn up the oven just a tad. Anyway, there's a lot of things I want to talk about in this episode, and I think we need to hit on some things that are kind of going on right now. But we can kind of, you know, February is a big month. You know, you think about it; it's the second month of the year. Mm-hmm. It kind of doesn't get the love that the January does, because, you know, you got New Year and it's like everybody's out. We're going to go work out. And then February comes along and then everybody quits going to the gym because it already sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you start falling off the
or at least
wagon.
they do after Valentine's Day.
Well, yeah, after Valentine's. Yeah, you know, and we have and then so you got Valentine's Day, which is, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of,
Yeah.
You know, I can take Valentine's Day, kind of take it or leave it, really, for me. But, you know, there's a lot of big things that have happened in the month of February, you know. You know, going back to 1975.
Very specific.
1975. Why'd I say it like that? I don't know. But anyway, 1975, there was a little band across the pond, that little rock and roll band, that came out with their debut album called High Voltage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if you're a music fan, you'll know who we're talking about. You know, you think 46 years ago. That's 46 years ago. Mm-hmm. Only reason why I know that is because on March 1st of this year, I'll be 46, and I was born in 75.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
Yeah. So 46 years ago, AC/DC came out with High Voltage.
Yes.
What? I mean, that's, to me, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like, you know, when you think about it in you know, your life, you're like, no, yeah, AC/DC's been around forever, but my whole life they've been around.
Yeah.
Right?
And they're still putting out music.
And they're still doing great.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. So you know, I think it to me, it's kind of like, when you think about things like that, you're like, oh my God. You know, and then the songs, when you think about AC/DC songs, some of my favorites were from, you know, the very first album. Oh, I mean, obviously they have great songs on all their records, but it's like that first album was such a huge hit.
Yeah.
And they had, you know, Bon Scott was just killing it back then before Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson's awesome. Love Brian Johnson. But
yeah.
Bon Scott had his that thing, you know? So, but
just such an odd voice. I mean, really,
it's so unique. That is a unique voice. That, you know, and Brian Johnson, that's a unique voice.
Yes.
You know, and they kind of are. They're similar. Mm-hmm. You're right.
Yeah.
But not really.
But not, yeah, it's the same but different.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you know, so both of them, I think, to me, AC/DC has those two. I look at AC/DC as one thing. You know, I don't see the Bon Scott era and the Brian Johnson era. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just AC/DC. It is what it is. It's been AC/DC from 1975 to 2021.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's the same. I'm sure there's some diehard AC/DC fans that are just like, you know, when Bon died, AC/DC died. Maybe,
yeah.
You know, but For me, it doesn't. I don't see that.
Yeah.
But Brian Johnson was my guy for AC/DC, right?
Mine too, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because growing up, my older brothers and everything, I heard AC/DC music, which was Bon Scott music, right? Growing up.
Yep.
But then when I kind of got more into AC/DC, it was Brian Johnson singing, right?
Back in Black was the first
Yeah,
AC/DC
and so
song.
to me, obviously High Voltage was a great record, everything that came off that. But then, I started picking up Back in Black, like, okay, that was AC/DC to me, right? But then when you go back and listen to the earlier stuff when Bon Scott was there, it's
Highway to Hell and
So anyway,
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, man. 1976, they're 75. Their first. That's just amazing to me how long ago that was, and they're still.
They just released another album this last year, I think.
Yeah.
I just bought it on vinyl. I haven't listened to it yet. But
and Brian, because Brian had all those problems, the hearing problems, the hearing issues, after rocking your face off for 40 years, I'm sure you do have some hearing issues. But so he was having trouble singing, and time and pitch and stuff like that. So they got it all worked out, and they're going to tour again. I mean, how awesome is that? You know what I mean?
That's killer.
And it's like they're timeless. They don't. Their music is awesome all the time, and every album, it's like the same. Because it's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the guitar sounds the same.
Yeah. Well, that's what they say.
Angus
they release the same album over and over, but whenever that same album is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
I guess if it's don't broke, it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Right.
So 75, you got AC/DC. Another big group for me coming out of that, again, and this just kind of popped up, when we started talking about this, it's the Eagles.
Yeah.
Okay, so 71 to 75 was that the period of time where their greatest hits was made. 1976, they released the greatest hits album. What is it? It was the first platinum album in 1976.
That's ridiculous.
What? Again, there's another band that the Eagles have been around forever in my life. You know what I mean? I mean, literally, my whole life they've been playing music and putting out music. And, when you think about it, it's like, as far back as I can remember, I remember hearing Eagles music. And then now you know why. Because in 76, their greatest hits album sold over a million copies. In 1976, you know? And it's like, oh, my God. So that music to me, I think people would kind of consider it country music today, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most of it would be considered country in the country genre. And obviously we've had a lot of people, re-record their music. Travis Tritt did the whole thing. Well, then they did the Eagles tribute. The country artist did the Eagles tribute, and which was awesome, but because it just fit, it was country music. It wasn't no one had to really stretch to sing any of those songs,
right?
You
ever seen that documentary, The History of the Eagles?
I have.
Like that big 3-hour-long thing.
I have, and it's the life of a band, it's kind of like the Metallica one. The Metallica ones. There's some
close.
There's some similarities in there. But the Eagles one, and
give that documentary to any new band and say, okay, guys, this is how not to.
This is
how not to interact with each other.
Yeah. When what was it? Was it Glenn Fry and Don Felder got in a fight on stage?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were cussing at each other on the microphones in front of 20,000 people. And it's like, oh my God. But I think that's what made them awesome. I think that's what made them great. Because in their own right, they were all great players and singers and songwriters. You know what I mean? You take them each individually. Obviously, Glenn Fry and Joe Walsh and Don Henley. Timothy B. Schmidt, and before that, Randy Meisner. I mean, you're like, golly, they were great players, great singers, great songwriters. Obviously, they're in 1976 they had the first platinum album. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, obviously you're good at what you do, but
They're onto something.
Yeah, you're doing it right, fellas. Before that, they were Linda Ronstadt's band.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Linda Ronstadt. Oh my God.
We struck a nerve.
Oh my God, Linda Ronstadt.
So
Only I had a time machine.
yeah. Well, watching that documentary on them, and it's like, oh my God, these guys were on top of the world. They were the greatest thing, but they were falling apart at the seams. I mean, it was like almost their whole career. It was like everything was great, and then they came together and they put out these great albums, and all of a sudden the wheels started falling off, you know. But they were still touring and doing the same thing, and then everybody had their own plane and bus, and it was crazy, some big circus, and then finally kind of split up, and Henley and they all went their separate, did their own thing, their solo projects, which were great. Henley's solo stuff is some of the best.
Dude, Joe Walsh's solo stuff, it's like some of the funnest stuff to listen to.
Absolutely, so for them to be that good and but it's just been around forever. You know what I mean? And literally in my life, it's forever, my whole life.
Yeah.
And they could come out. Well, they did come back out and start touring again. Vince Gill went out and started playing acoustic and stuff and singing harmony, which I would have loved to see that. Just being a Vince Gill fan and an Eagles fan, that would have been cool. But man, I mean, so February. You know what I mean? So there's some cool things that happened in February besides Valentine's Day.
Yep.
And I know when we, you look back.
Is February when the Buddy Holly plane crashed?
February
made me shiver with every paper I delivered.
You know what? You might be right. Was that in February? I know. Let's see. Can you? I don't know if we can find that out. But can we Google that maybe?
February 3rd, the day the music died.
Wow. And not to discredit any other things. Obviously Valentine's Day has been around for the beginning of history. I don't know when people started celebrating Valentine's Day or making that a cool thing. Obviously in our lifetime, Black History Month, is February, obviously. Not discrediting that or not, not saying nothing else is cool in February, but I'm musically, obviously Buddy Holly. That was I forgot about that. That's weird. I forgot about that. Waylon Jennings was supposed to be on that plane too.
Yep.
And that's crazy. That's a crazy story.
Yeah.
That is a crazy.
I hope your plane crashes. Well, it sure did.
Oh my God.
That's heavy.
Yeah. How do you get over that? And to know, your buddies just died in a plane crash.
Yep.
And jokingly you said, "Hey, I hope your plane crashes." Oh my God. What do you do? What do you do? Where do you go from there? You know what I mean?
There's no go back from that.
Wow. So, man. So, I mean, I think February is kind of a cool month. And with obviously Black History Month. Learning about that, which is very important. I think a lot of people we take that for granted. I think the Black History Month thing. I think growing up, what we learned in school. I think a lot of what we learned in school is not so much incorrect, but only a very little part of our history anyway. I wish there was more of a musical history when you're in elementary school and things like that, high school, junior high. I think kids would really like. I know I would have. A lot of my friends would have liked kind of a musical history class. Not so much like theory. Musical theory class like you'd take in college.
I would have loved a music history class.
Well, how cool would that have been? I mean, that would have been cool because you could, gone up right up and, start, even go back to the Bachs and Beethovens and the composers back in the day and start, there and work your way up to current music at whatever period of time, if it's a 2021 class, come up right up into today's, talk about the Weeknd playing the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know, I mean, that was a huge deal for that artist, to be able to do that. But anyway, February to me is kind of always an overlooked thing because I overlook it because my birthday's in March,
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I'm like January, March, my birthday. That's the next cool time, right? So, Elvis Presley, the king. We need to talk about the king for a second after we talk about this one little tidbit of information. The king of rock and roll, his first gold record was in 1960, in February of 1960. First gold, 500,000 copies. No internet, hardly TV. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Radio.
Radio was huge.
And word of mouth.
Yep.
He sold 500,000. 500,000. That's crazy.
Yeah.
1960, man. So, I mean, there's a lot of cool things that happen, obviously, musically in there. But, okay, we call him the king of rock and roll. I've always wondered why. Why the king of rock and roll? Okay? Because it was rockabilly when he first started.
Yeah.
Right? So it's rockabilly. I understand that. Then when he started doing his movies, he wasn't singing rock and roll in his movies. He was singing show tunes.
Yeah.
Kind of. You know what I mean?
Well,
and musical kind of stuff.
Hound Dog.
Yeah, okay, but I know. I know, but Hound Dog was a blues tune that they just recut.
Yeah.
And he did it a little differently.
That's what half the Rolling Stones.
Well, I know. I'm just saying, so the king of rock and roll, right? Mm-hmm. We had guys back then do it. Don't get me wrong. I love Elvis Presley. I'm not. Please don't send a bunch of hate mail like, why are you bad-mouthing the king? No, look, I love the king. I love him. But why did they call him the king of rock and roll? So, was it because, he was so famous and he was singing popular music, rock and roll music. They called it rock and roll then. But think about it, when in the late 60s, like when he came back, did the comeback special in 68, he was all,
Although, if you think about it, back then, you really didn't have multiple... You had multiple genres, but not, like, as divided as it is now.
Right, it wasn't as diverse. Right.
So, like, everything
Absolutely.
in that general umbrella was, like, rock and roll. So,
I guess so. But they had popular music then, though.
Yeah.
It was called popular music. You had big band, swing, and then you had popular music,
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me. I don't know.
I don't make the rules, man.
I don't make the rules, dude. I just break them. So, but it's always, so then you look at, so he comes up in the 50s and 60s and then takes the break, obviously, and does a million movies. And then he comes back out, does the 68 comeback special where he looked rock and roll, dude. Leather suit, awesome. Just him, looking all cool and playing a guitar and just, killing it. Then he started wearing jumpsuits.
Yeah.
In the 70s, right? So 70s come around and Elvis is the only dude. There's no other artist wearing jumpsuits.
Yeah.
Everybody's wearing jeans and, they're not wearing jumpsuits.
Yeah.
Right? And he's not only singing Hound Dog and the rockabilly stuff, he's singing pop music, and country music because he re-recorded like Welcome to My World and all Eddie Arnold stuff. I mean, he recorded all kinds of music, and he had a big, huge orchestra with him on stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And his guitar player wasn't really shredding the guitar like with a lot of distortion and like what you think about when you say rock and roll. You had Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
For God's sakes, shredding the guitar.
Yeah.
And with some crazy distortion and stuff. Then you had all the bands in that time. The
Who.
The Who. Led Zeppelin.
Yep.
Come on, man, that's rock and roll.
Yeah.
The
Beatles, really.
the Beatles, but and the Beatles to me were pop rock, if you would, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it was kind of clean. You know, she loves me, yeah. You know, it's kind of happy, and you know, and they had some killer songs, but the Elvis thing, I just didn't understand. The king of rock and roll. Was it because he was the first gigantic star in
Probably.
in that kind of era? Maybe.
Yeah.
So he was the king. Like that's him. That's the king.
Yeah,
man.
because I mean, back then that was rock and roll, so like, it probably just like once the name stuck, it stuck. Well, later on they just called him the king.
Right.
So it wasn't like, oh, the king of rock. It's like Elvis the king.
Yeah, that's the
so
king.
So it's.
Yo, king! You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like I don't know. So that's always been in the back of my mind. Just why did they call him the king of rock and roll? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Michael Jackson, he's the king of pop music, right? You understand why?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know what I mean? It's like
Thriller's still the #1 selling album
of all time. Of all time. Man, you know what I mean? So. Anyway, I don't know. Was Thriller, did that release in February? It might have.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Why not?
I don't know, man. So, you know, anyway, I know, you know, I just, there's things that, you know, I wonder anyway. But it's so many great things in the music industry, in music of all genres, happened in February, right? Mm-hmm. And we could go on for days and days. Obviously, you can Google all the cool things that have happened in February in music and all that. But these are just some things that, like you said, you just kind of think about it and you're like, oh my God, my whole entire life, you know, AC/DC's been around.
Yeah. My
entire life. And the Eagles, my entire life. And they still play.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, you know? It's awesome, you know? So I know in country music here in the last, you know, few weeks, month, from the end of January into February here, you know, it's in the country world, there's been a lot of talk about the Morgan Wallen issue, you know, with what he said. And you know, for me, like, I don't know Morgan Wallen. I have no idea. I've never met the man. He could be he could be a great guy. You know what I'm saying? And he just made a mistake, right?
Yep.
Does it hurt him to make an apology? You know, does it hurt him not to make an apology? You know, of course, his record label dropped him, and all this stuff happened, and then all of a sudden, Morgan Wallen has the biggest selling month of any artist, right? Mm-hmm. You know, because his fans said, "Hey, we're still supporting you," and even though they're not playing you on every radio station anymore right now or whatever, I don't know. I mean, it was a mistake, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
He was just should it have been said? No, absolutely not. You cannot do that. You cannot say that. You can't.
Nor should you.
No, yeah, right.
You know?
I mean, you shouldn't. But
yeah.
He wasn't. I don't think he was being malicious in any way when he was saying it. It was his friend, I think, he was saying it to. But still, you know, right, wrong, or indifferent, you can't say it.
No, and
you shouldn't. I think that there's a big, like, I don't know what not mystique or what the word I'm looking for. There's things that you learn growing up, and there's things that, you know, everybody makes mistakes, everybody slips up, everybody says, you know, I cuss all the time, you know what I mean? That's kind of, you know, and there's things that you can say in a loving, joking manner.
Sure.
You know, but there's also things you cannot say, even if it's in a loving, joking manner, right?
Right. Yes.
Right. And like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm not pointing any fingers at the guy. You know, he made a mistake, obviously, and he's paying for it. Sort of.
Well, kind of.
Sort of.
Well,
sort of.
Yeah.
Because his albums are selling like mad right now. Mm-hmm. You know, so.
But is he really going to see any of that?
He wrote them.
Well,
so I
guess
publishing rights to those songs. You know what I mean? So I mean, did he really get hurt any? You know, and I know, and not saying that, not, you know, obviously there's, you know, you could make a big conspiracy and say, hey, you know, any publicity is good publicity, bad publicity is good publicity, you know, but yeah, you can't.
Case.
I don't think you can in this case, except in record sales, apparently.
Right.
I mean there, but you know, unfortunately for him, the guy was getting ready to be on top of the world. I think, you know what I mean. He was on fire in that genre of music, and whether you liked it or not, he was doing his thing, and it was working, you know, up until this. So, I mean, unfortunately for him, I don't know how you could bounce back from that. In today's times, maybe 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you might have been able to come back from that, you know, because times were different then, and things were a little pushed under the rug, I think, and now everything's brought out. You know what I mean? Everything is magnified, especially if you're in a spotlight of any kind. You know, if you're in the spotlight, it's almost like you don't want to leave your house,
right?
Because you can make a mistake and piss somebody off, or you know what I mean, or just people are just out to get you. You know what I mean, or to watch you make a mistake.
Right.
That's why I don't sing the national anthem anymore.
Oh, there's no way.
You know, I did it a few times, and it's great. It's the easiest, hardest song to sing.
Yep.
Everybody knows it. You know it by heart. Right up until you have to sing it in a situation.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh.
It'd be sounding like Leslie Nielsen on Naked Gun.
Yeah, making up stuff. You know. And but people, I know this happens because you see 1,000 people screwing up the national anthem on YouTube. Big stars, you know, whoever it is, they don't care because they have their cell phones out. As soon as they're like, oh, so-and-so is going to sing the national anthem.
Yeah.
And as soon as you start singing, boop, they're recording. And if you do good, most of them delete it. But as soon as you bobble or, you know, whatever, it's going on YouTube.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So people are just waiting.
Dude, there's like messing up the national anthem, volume 1. Messing up the national anthem, volume 2.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like, there's no way.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that. I mean, and when you're in the and like, not saying that just being in the spotlight, you can't get away with things, but or you shouldn't be able to get away with it. You shouldn't be able to get away with it, even if you're not in the spotlight. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's bad for him. I know a lot of artists were weighing in, you know, like it was just a mistake on his part, and you know, and they knew him or whatever. And then some artists were like, "Yeah, dude, you made your bed, you lay in it."
Yep.
You know, and some artists were kind of, you know, on the fence where, oh, you know, it was taken out of context and all that. No, I mean, I watched the video. Now, like, was it meaning to be racial? I don't know. I don't know who he was saying it to. But again, you can't say it anyway.
Yeah.
Whether you're trying to be a race, you know, it was meant to be racial or a racist comment or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just can't say it to people.
Yeah.
And because of the connotation.
Yeah.
Now you can call people all kinds of other things, right? Does that make it any better? No, it doesn't. But I mean, I call some of my friends some bad things. You know what I mean? And it's in nothing but fun and love, but it's still not right. I mean, it's still not right to call your friends names. You know, you learn that when don't hit your friends, don't pull your friends' hair, don't pick your nose, that kind of thing. Don't call your friends ugly names, right? Yeah, be nice.
Well, that word shouldn't even be in the vocabulary. You know, there's no matter how mad I am, I've never once been like just tempted to scream that at somebody.
You know, okay, so here's the thing for me. You hear it. You hear it every day if you listen to the radio, right? In certain musics, but it's like culturally, it's okay for some people, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's okay for those people.
Well,
you know what I mean? But there's another argument for But you know, we could get into all that, and it's a big old ugly bag.
That'll be for next week's podcast.
Bag of worms on that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, we shouldn't say it. You know, regardless of what you're talking about, or you know, so you know, and you know, in the other news, not only you get that, but you have the Osborne brothers.
Yes.
You know.
Brothers Osborne.
Brothers Osborne. Not the,
The Osborne brothers.
Yeah,
The old bluegrass band.
bluegrass band. Brothers Osborne. I'm sorry.
1962.
Yeah. Brothers Osborne. I do it all the time. I always say that. And I actually got to do a show with those guys. Great dudes. Very talented guys.
Yeah.
And they have a cool, it's like a cool vibe, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not necessarily real country, but it's not necessarily not.
Yeah.
If that makes any
Dude,
sense.
it's great. That
It's really
Live at
good.
the Ryman album
Absolutely
they put out,
awesome.
dude.
Absolutely awesome. And for him to come out as gay, it's like again in the time we're in today, it's not as big a deal. I don't think.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. That's my thing.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're gay.
No.
If you're gay, good for you. I'm not good for me. Whatever.
Right.
Who cares? No one.
Yeah.
No one at the end of the day. I can't say no one. I can't say
No.
that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We can't say no one cares. It's kind of like athletes. There's openly gay football players, professional football players. There's openly gay soccer players. You know what I mean? Good. Does it make them any better? No. Does it make them any worse? No. So who really, at the end of the day, who cares if you're gay? To me, it doesn't matter to me. Are you a great entertainer and a great singer and a great songwriter and a great what you do? Good for you.
Yeah.
So to me, it doesn't make you any less or more if you're gay, right?
Yeah.
An athlete, are you any less or more of a great athlete if you're gay? No.
Nope.
No. So do you have different struggles than straight athletes or straight entertainers? Absolutely. Because of the stigma, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest. This is totally honest. And people might be like, "Ooh, you say that." Here's the thing.
Uh-oh.
Back, growing up, I wasn't around very many gay people that I knew of, that I knew that were gay, right? It wasn't until later in life when I kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. You kind of see it, right? And you see different things. And it wasn't, actually, I was on the show, on the X Factor.
Oh, yeah.
Jason Brock.
Yeah. Brock was his last name.
Yeah,
right?
dude, Jason Brock. I mean, he was flamboyantly gay.
Was he?
Yeah. I mean, it was all rainbows.
No.
It was all glitter and rainbow explosions and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
I love the guy. Oh my, super talented, could sing his face off. He's a great guy. I roomed with him for 2 weeks, right? And I for me, I was just asking him questions. I'm like, hey man, all right, let's talk about this thing. Let's tell me how, why, and how'd you know?
Yeah.
What is it? And he explained his path as far as how he figured it out, kind of, and he always kind of knew maybe, but wasn't real sure, that kind of thing. And so it was really enlightening. It really helped me, honestly. It helped me. But then it's like, and then we had producers on the show that were gay, both male and female, and it was like talking to them and kind of understanding some of their struggle a little bit. I don't understand it because I'm not gay, so I don't have to live that.
Right.
But listening to them talk and it kind of helped me understand a little bit where they're coming from, and with some of the they don't some of the rights that they want and all that. I get, you know what I mean. I think you just love everybody, right? I mean, we're supposed to love one another anyway, and so. And probably going to get hate mail and all kinds of bad things for this. But at the end of the day, I don't give a damn, right? And this is how I feel. If you don't like it, don't listen, right?
Right.
And you might not feel this way, and if you don't,
Well,
good.
wait to not listen until we get a few more subscribers.
Yeah. So anyway, my whole thing with it is it doesn't matter to me,
No.
right? As a fan of music and sports and anything else, I don't care that you're gay. It has no bearing on my like or dislike of your music. You can be 100% straight. You can be Rick James and be the biggest whore in the world. As a man, and all women, and you're terrible. Who cares?
Right.
I don't care. I don't like your stuff. It's not because you're gay or straight.
Right.
It's just I don't like your stuff. Right.
Yeah.
And so I hope for his sake and I think it is. I hope for, like I said, I hope for them, for Brothers Osborne. I think it is. I think we're a little more accepting. And people say things about country music fans about we're all rednecks and hillbillies and whatever. But I don't think that's the case anymore. Sure, we are still that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
But you know what I mean, and that's great, and that's what built our genre of music.
Yeah.
But I think we're a lot more understanding than that, and I think we're a lot bigger than that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, so
and who are we to tell somebody over here that hey, you can't do this, you can't. One thing I hate is whenever somebody tells me, hey, you can't do that. It's like, well,
absolutely,
yes, I can, and I will.
Yeah, and here, watch me.
Yeah, right.
Hold my beer, right?
Yeah,
here,
right.
hold my beer. Then the redneck comes out.
Yep.
But so we that in the country music world has kind of been the big topic of everything, and it's like, why can't we get past all that stuff? Why can't we just, why is it such a big deal? You know what I mean? Like I said, there's a lot of country artists that are gay. Some are out, some are not. You know, and I think they're scared. To come out. And I'm sure there's an issue there, but there shouldn't be.
No.
To me, I don't think there should be.
No.
You know what I mean? And like I said, we're probably going to get hate mail and all that kind of good stuff for some of my comments. But at the end of the day, don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Man, their album still rocks.
Absolutely.
Even
you know what I mean?
just as much now as it did before I found out.
Who cares? Like I said, like you look at Sam Smith.
Yeah.
In the pop world, dude is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Sings his face off.
Yeah.
Who cares if he's gay? I don't care.
Don't
care. Doesn't matter to me. He's awesome either way, right? So anyway, it's kind of been, I don't know. People throw it out there, and it's like, oh, what do you think of that? And it's like, why be negative? Negativity gets you zero.
Nope.
That's what it gets you. It gets you nothing. Everybody could be negative about something in their life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We could all be, I got discriminated against because of my big foot, or my big toe is
my big foot.
I don't know. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I just got one big foot.
Just one. I just have one foot.
I buy two pairs of shoes all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm mad because I got to buy two. I only have one, right? So, no, I mean, you know what I mean? We all have something that we can be, mad about or negative about, I didn't get a promotion at work because it was the boss's brother, and so you get pissed off about that or whatever. In everyone's life, we all have that, right?
Yeah.
We all have those things where we can be negative, but if, negativity gets you nowhere, so why not be a little more positive? I've been that negative guy. I'll be honest with you. I've been that negative guy. And it's still hard not to be that negative guy sometimes. Mm-hmm. It is terribly hard sometimes. But at the end of the day, when I look at what I have and I look at my life, where I've been, what I've done, who I'm friends with, who I've associated myself with, and look, I've made as many mistakes as anybody, and I continue to do so. I'm not perfect, obviously. No one is. But it's like...
I'm pretty close.
Yeah, I like to tell my wife I'm real close, but shit. But it's so. But you know what I'm saying? Like I try to be as positive about things as I can, most of the time. You know what I mean? Most of the time, I try to be positive. I should try to be positive 100% of the time, but it just doesn't happen. That's not my nature. I'm just not that guy. But I'm working on it. You know what I mean? So
sure.
So. Anyway, I don't know. I think we need as a people, as a nation, as a people, as a race, the human race. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think we can learn a lot. We still have a long way to go.
Oh yeah,
a long way to go. I think we're getting better at certain things. We're getting better with acceptance. Some things I still have a hard time with. There's a lot of things that I have a hard time with. But, at the end of the day, who am I? Who am I to judge somebody?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I to say, the only judging I can do is if I don't like it. If I don't like your music, or I don't like the way you play football or baseball, or, you know what I mean, whatever it is you're doing that I don't like, I can be like, I don't like him. For whatever reason. It don't matter. I don't like it. I don't have to watch it. I don't have to listen to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But
that may be a good segue for about the Super Bowl.
Hey, absolutely. Here we go.
Speaking of not liking the way somebody plays football.
Jeez. Okay, listen. All right. Yeah. The Super Bowl this year. Where do you start? Okay. If you're a Chiefs fan, if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, we waited 50 years, longer than I've been alive, to get back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We did. We won.
Yes.
Right?
Great night.
Great. Awesome. Awesome feeling, and I'm like, okay, cool. We have this young gunslinger quarterback in Patrick Mahomes who, quite possibly will go down as one of the best to probably ever wear a helmet.
Sure.
Right? He comes back, brings us back to another Super Bowl. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's playing, quite possibly, the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. Whether you like him or not, I don't really care for Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But you cannot. He's probably the best one to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly.
Yeah.
He's probably the best one to ever do it.
Really. Probably doesn't even. He probably is.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's no possibly about it.
At the end of the day, he is the GOAT. He is the the greatest of all time.
Yeah. Mahomes has got a long way to go.
Okay, so you think about Tom Brady. He's been in 11 Super Bowls?
Is it 11?
Yeah, 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Something weird like that. He lost 2. No.
No. Was this his 6th or 7th?
7th ring.
Yes.
He's working on 10. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay.
What a jerk.
No, that's what I'm saying. So, whatever it is,
God.
And it doesn't matter if he's been in 1 Super Bowl or 100. He has 7 Super Bowl championships.
Yeah.
That he led his team,
Yeah.
And he's had some great teams winning those, in winning those. And he's had some not so good teams where he won, right? And the team won. So regardless of what you think of Tom Brady, he's the greatest of all time, right?
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes, though, sure, he has a long way to go, but what he does on the football field, it's magic, really. But leading up to the Super Bowl, I wasn't nervous about the game, really, because I kind of had a feeling it was going to be an uphill battle for us anyway. You have 4 offensive linemen who are not starters starting that game. Okay, listen, the Buccaneers defense, their defensive front is one of the best in the game. So when we have 4 backup players starting in that game on the offensive line, okay, that tells me right there that we're in trouble.
Yeah, wasn't a good sign.
It wasn't good from the beginning. Patrick Mahomes rushed for 497 yards, sideways and backwards. Yeah. Okay. Well, we didn't have 497 yards of total offense.
Mm-mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And he ran for that much around scrambling and backwards and running sideways, sideline to sideline. You know what I mean? So obviously you can't win football games. You can't. You got to score touchdowns too. You can't just kick field goals. So we were trading field goals for touchdowns, and it wasn't working. And it was apparent from the get go, we were in trouble. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't put any pressure on Tom Brady. Yeah, we sacked him once or twice or whatever it was, but other than that, we didn't touch him. He had all the time in the world to throw the ball. And it was just they just had a better plan. Their game plan was a lot better than ours. So was it a bummer? Absolutely a bummer. but we made it back-to-back Super Bowls. We made it to back-to-back Super Bowls. And we made it with a lot of our guys hurt throughout the year. You know what I mean? So, did the season end the way we didn't want it to end? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But did it end in the Super Bowl? It sure did.
Yeah.
So that's positive. I mean, we made it to the dance again. You know what I mean? We just didn't get our opportunity to show out.
Well, that fact doesn't give me my $50 back, so I lost some money on that.
For me, I didn't lose any money. I didn't bet, but
I shouldn't have.
It gave me hope though for this year, because everybody's coming back for the most part. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Our offense is still stacked up. I believe we're going to go get offensive linemen. In this off season and in our free agency stuff and signing guys. I think they're going to recruit and get some really good offensive linemen. We need to. Hopefully we do. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to get some secondary guys too. Some help. We have a couple really good young guys, and they're playing great. Mm-hmm. But we just need a little more help. Mm-hmm. At the linebacker spot too. I think we got a couple really good linebackers, and they're young guys. We just need more help there, right? But I'm excited for this next season. Here we go again.
Yeah.
One of the things I've been watching over the last week or so has been the J.J. Watt thing. J.J. Watt, the Texans released him. He's a free agent. I would love it to see number 99 wear a Chiefs uniform. Holy cow. Would that be electric? Mm-hmm. He's still great. I mean, he's been around. Now he's a veteran. Mm-hmm. But what he could teach those young guys, playing next to him, and watching him and mm-hmm. learning from him. JJ's awesome, not individual too. You just look at what he's done in the Houston area, especially during the hurricane and all his own money he spent millions of his own money. Helping rebuild and foster a bunch of things for people. You know what I mean? It's like mm-hmm. he's a great person. So why wouldn't we want him here in Kansas City?
Yeah.
I would lose a couple guys. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I would lose a couple guys to open up that free agent money, and pick him up for a year or two, just so he can teach. Mm-hmm. Let those guys teach these young guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyway, I don't know if that'll happen. Probably not. He'll probably go to the Broncos or something dumb. Somebody we got to play every year a couple times. So
Tampa Bay will pick him up.
Oh yeah, he's probably already signing the dotted line with Tampa Bay. So, but I don't know, man. Like I said, the Super Bowl was kind of a bummer, but I kind of expected it with mm-hmm. with what we were dealing with and who we were facing at the end of the day too. I mean, even though we beat Tampa Bay twice, we had everybody in those games for the mm-hmm. most part. Maybe missing in the second game, had missed a few, but you could see Tom Brady kind of analyzing everything in that second game. He was like, oh, you're going to do that, I'm going to do this. And it started working, and they came back, and they made it a game, right? And the second game was a real good game. Mm-hmm. Unlike the first game. The first game we killed them, and then the second game they started making it a game, and it was like, uh-oh, he's figuring it out, and so Bruce Arians, whether you like him, Arians is a great coach, whether you like him or not, or his style or whatever, and he obviously had a great coaching staff around him, helping, and they just had a great game plan, for Kansas City when they came in. But anyway, so yeah, that sucks. It's not winning the Super Bowl again, but it is what it is. We'll come back. We'll win it this year, right? Hopefully. I don't know. I'm just bummed out right now, really, about the weather.
Yeah.
This weather's terrible.
Yeah.
In Missouri, the last 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks probably, have been awful, miserable, cold, mm-hmm. negative numbers.
Yeah.
And then, you get the ice and the snow, and it's like, oh my God, I wish that I'd lived in a warmer climate this time, just only for a few months. You know what mm-hmm. I mean? Just for like the last half of January to the first half of March.
Right.
You know what I mean? If we could just go to where it's 80 and then come back to Missouri You know, for spring, it'd be great. And here again, that sucks. Our springs are short now. It's like we go winter, summer.
Yeah.
Winter, spring, summer. You know, you got like 2 weeks of spring, and then it's already getting miserable hot. You know, so I guess you complain all the time. I complain about it anyway. But whether it's too hot or too cold, I'd rather be hot though. Honestly, for me, I'd rather be hot. I hate being cold. I hate being cold.
If it comes down to being absolutely just frigid cold like this and being really hot, I'll take the hot.
Absolutely. I can take all my clothes off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you can play outdoor shows.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't play outdoor shows
Can't
when
do
it's
that right
when
now.
it's 9. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's terrible. But anyway, I feel bad for the people in Texas.
Oh, yeah. Buddy of mine, I just got off the phone with him yesterday. He's lives down in Texas.
That's bad.
They're having it pretty bad.
Well, they're not used to this. They're not used to they're not used to all the cold weather. It gets cold in Texas, but not frigid
that cold.
and not icy. You know, they'll have a little, but they're not like they're having it right now. And throughout the whole south part of our country, you know, I mean, it's just like a big horseshoe of ice and snow in the middle of our country, and it's miserable down there. You see all the wrecks and the pileups and stuff on their highways. And then the power outages. And I know we're dealing with that right now, where Evergy is kind of doing the rolling power outages every 30 minutes to an hour. You'll be without power, and they tell you to turn your thermostats down to 60, 65, so help turn off all your lights and stuff like that when you're not using them, and things like that to help the energy. The crisis basically that they're having, because everything's running so hard and drawing so much power that they can't keep up with it. So it sucks for them, and I know a lot of people, a lot of businesses, who are anchored out of Texas. My wife, her business, she's got a lot of people down there. They can't even work. They have no internet service. They have nothing.
Right.
So they're down. They're just shut down. You know what I mean? And so it puts strain on her job and other people's jobs. And I know, I called our insurance agent. Well, they're based out of Texas. So she was like, I'm sorry, you can't pay for she's like, we couldn't even accept a payment for your insurance right now because our systems are down because it's all out of Texas and they're down. And we don't know if it'll be a day or 2 days, a week, a month. We don't have no idea. So you can't get any information. They don't have their computers down. They're like, we're just kind of sitting here in the office like, well, answering the phone,
Lord.
Trying to help when we can. But so I know it's affected so many people, and it just sucks. Wintertime sucks. Snow's pretty. Snow is beautiful.
It is.
When you don't have to mess with it.
Yep.
When you just look out your window and go, man, that's just beautiful. You know, all nice and fluffy and white, and then you go get in your car. And
it looks all nice till you have to shovel it off your driveway.
Yep. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I paid my nephew.
No, did you?
Yeah. I'm like, here's $20, dude. Go get it. And but so I don't know, man. There's this time of year, kind of one of those things, I guess.
Yeah. Want to read some reviews?
Let's do it.
All right. You want to pull it up on your iPhone?
Let me look here.
I'll start off here. There's a review from 5-star review from Buck Hayes.
Oh, Buck.
Yeah, old Buck Hayes. He says, love the podcast. It feels like I'm a fly on the wall getting to listen in on a conversation amongst friends. Keep it up. Looking forward to the shows to come. Thanks, Buck.
Buck Hayes. That's awesome. Thank you, Buck. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying. My phone is not. Hold on. How come I'm not getting? Okay, this is terrible. My phone's frozen.
Oh, is it? Here, I'll pull it up.
Yeah.
If I can find it. I subscribe to like a million podcasts here.
Yeah, my phone's frozen, dude.
There we go. From oh man. How do you pronounce that?
Let me see.
It's here up in the corner. That's the name. Armadillo Gal.
Armadillo Gal. That's right.
It.
Just listen to the first 2 episodes, and I am loving it. From the first time meeting you in Kansas City after I won the Spin to Win contest to see you in Farmington and in Phoenix, you never disappoint. Always looking forward to new music and glad you liked your diamond painting. Can't wait for concerts again. Hold on. Meanwhile, it's long, man.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I will enjoy these podcasts. Well, Armadillo Gal, thank you so much. And I really did like the diamond painting. That's really cool. It's going in my my office. So
You still have, so I guess you do still have that.
I do. Yeah. So it's going in the office, man.
Shoot me a picture. We'll put it up on the Instagram.
So here's the deal. We're kind of reconfiguring here at the house, and I have some once Hayden when they move out, they're buying a house, so they're here until their house is ready, and everything. So as soon as that goes, we have I'm changing that room into my office and stuff like that. So all my memorabilia will be up, everything that I've gotten, or most. I can't put everything up,
and it'll be warm,
and it'll be warmer than the basement. Yeah.
And also we got some questions for you.
Okay.
Here online. I got some that were DM'd to me, but one here from the Facebook page.
From the pages of faces.
Let's see here. Why won't it let me scroll down?
I gotta pee.
I don't know why it's not letting me see the rest of it. From Bobby Sollers.
Oh, Bobby.
He says, I've been wanting to ask you this. Where do you see your career going in 5 years?
In 5 years.
5 years.
Man.
I'll have to pull it up on my phone because it's not letting me scroll down.
That's fine.
Where do you see yourself going in 5 years? I think that's just the first half of the question.
Oh, okay. In 5 years, where do I see myself in my career? Well, I hope we're still doing a podcast. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I see myself still playing music. I don't ever think I'll stop. I think I'll still be playing music. I don't know where and how often, but I'll continue to play music, as much as I can. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could be a greeter at Walmart. I don't know.
Never know.
Never know.
Yeah, it says, where do you see your career going in 5 years? What do you want to achieve? Don't swerve the questions.
Don't swerve the questions.
Yes. Oh boy.
I think honestly I'll be playing music somewhere, doing something musically. I'd still love to be doing the podcast. This is a lot of fun. And what do I want to achieve? That's a hard one. Honestly, that is a hard question. Obviously, you want to have hit records. That'd be cool. Mm-hmm. And love to be touring all the time and playing music. But, so that would be an achievement I'd still like to do. And just putting out great music, I think,
sure,
that people want to hear, and when you go play somewhere, people show up to listen to it. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to achieve. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'd like to, have a awesome. I think our podcast would be cool if we could, get up and going and get it to the masses of people, right?
Yeah.
And have a great podcast. I think that'd be a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So Jenny asks,
"Oh, Jenny,
do you ever keep in touch with any of the contestants on X Factor, or from X Factor when you're on?"
Yeah, it's kind of. I did for a long time, and I still, I still keep up with them, a few of them. It was kind of funny, man. Lyric 145.
Yeah.
They Melee and those guys. They were good dudes, and I remember being in New York, and that's where they're from. I think Lyric, she was actually from Michigan. She's from Detroit. So, ooh. But Melee and they were from New York. And I called in New York, and I'm like, called them up, and I'm like, man, I'm in New York. Where you at? And they're like, well, we're here, man. We're here in town. Where are you at? So we met up at a Five Guys. Funny enough, they jumped on the subway, ran to Five Guys where I was at. We met at a Five Guys down the street from the hotel I was in, and ate and talked. Man, we talked for like 2 or 3 hours.
Love Five Guys.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so I kept in touch with them. David Corey, kept in touch with him for a long time, and he's doing really good. Just his urban rock records thing that he's got going on, man, and he's an awful good dude too. I didn't, and that was kind of it. Just a few. Jason Brock, I talked to Jason after the show several times, and then he was going to move to Japan. Yeah, and live there. I don't know if he ever did or not, but yeah. But a lot of people a lot of people change numbers. Obviously, their phone numbers change and whatever, and so I don't have them. And I follow. I talked to Willie Jones actually not too long ago.
Willie Jones.
Yeah, I talked to Willie.
Isn't that the dude you threw under the bus with the?
Well, yeah, they said I threw him under the bus with the song, but no, I talked to Willie. He's a good dude. I like.
Yeah, he just had some
Willie.
new music come out, didn't he?
Yeah. And he's doing really good. In his version of country music, he's doing great, man.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, every once in a while, you get to catch up, or you see somebody and you can kind of DM them or something, if they still even have the same stuff that
Sure.
numbers and whatnot. But
what about the judges? That was a question from Terry. Do you keep in touch with any of the judges?
No. After the show, it was kind of done. Now,
done.
L.A. Reid and I did, because he was a Sony guy too, right? So I'm on Sony Records.
Okay.
He was a Sony executive.
Gotcha.
So we still talked for a few years after the show, and then after that he got fired from Sony, and I was out of Sony too. So it was kind of over then.
Gotcha. And Steve asked, was Little Big Town your choice for the celebrity duet, or were they assigned? If they were assigned, who would you have chosen?
Well, okay, so we had a they came to all the artists. They said, listen, we have a group of artists for you guys to kind of pick from, right? And through these artists, who would you like to duet with or sing a song with? They were on our list, I'd picked a few women to do a duet with, but in the time frame that we had, it wouldn't have worked. You know what I mean? Because they said pick a couple males and a couple females, artists that you'd like to work with, and then here's some artists that you can work with for sure.
Sure,
we know these, and Little Big Town was on that list, and I picked them. Because they're amazing.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're not a Little Big Town fan, you should be, because they're absolutely awesome. And what they do on the record is what they do live. It's amazing, and they're great people, super sweet. Karen and they were just so sweet to me and so good to me. But so yeah, they were on the list, and they were one of the groups. They were one of the artists that I picked, and it just worked out that they were able to do it.
So if you could have picked anybody, who do you?
I said Faith Hill was one of them for one of the women. Kelly Clarkson was the other woman. Of course, Carrie Underwood.
Sure.
They were not able to do it. So yeah, went with Little Big Town.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was fun.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy. There's a little story to that too. On the show, I had a producer on the show, right, that produced the music that I sang to. John Shanks, great guy, great, super Bon Jovi. I mean, he plays with Bon Jovi now too. He plays guitar with him, but he produced their records. Anyway, so he was my producer on the show, and they wanted him to produce the version of Pontoon that we did.
Yeah.
And I really stood up and I said, no, it's not going to happen. Listen, these guys are award-winning artists, okay?
Yeah.
They do not need your show. We're going to do they have a musical version. We're doing the whole song. So why do you need to go re-record it? just use their music bed from the album.
Yeah.
That's what they do on award shows. You know what I mean? Most of the time. So just use that. Why not? And they were like, well, because of it could be louder or it could not be, you know. And I'm like, no, dude. Mm-mm. And John was like, yeah, you're right. We're going to use their stuff. And I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you think they're going to change their key? Or
Yeah, they said they would.
Did they
yeah,
really?
They actually,
wow.
Yeah, they actually said, we can drop it if you need to. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I should have.
I was going to say, yeah, you probably should have.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't bad when I first started singing. And then once we got to the chorus,
as
I was
you
like,
keep singing, you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, dang, I forgot it was this high. Yeah. Oh, it was bad. That was brutal. It was brutal. But they were good sports, man. They were really good sports about it and super nice. And,
but hey, you won, so who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
And AJ from the other side of your table asked, how hot was Britney Spears in person?
Okay, dude, look. It is okay. Say what you want. Smoke show, dude.
Oh yeah,
absolute smoke show. And I'll tell you something. She's awful sweet too. She's so nice. So when you think about stars, pop stars, country stars, whatever, you know, Britney Spears, you're like, that's Britney Spears, right? She's a big thing. That's a big artist. That's a big star. And so, you know, I people have asked that before. You know, is she really not? She's super nice, and she's so pretty, and so just like it's weird because it's like you can't not look at her. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense.
You can't not stare at her. She caught me several times.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, we'd be backstage before we walked out, you know, when the video walls would open and they were like, L.A. Reid and blah, blah, blah. And we'd walk down the stairs and then Demi Lovato and her groups and Simon Cowell. We'd be standing back there talking. We're all standing around in a big circle talking. And I'm just like, you know, we're all staring at her because she's
Britney freaking Spears.
Yeah, but she's like... Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird hotness that it's like you can't. It's like a train wreck. You can't not look at it.
Right.
It's crazy. Anyway, but yeah,
just a beautiful train wreck.
It's just a beautiful, beautiful train wreck. Yeah, no, seriously. But she's super nice and not to be creepy, but no, she's beautiful. She's a beautiful woman, and but yeah, it's cool, man. You know, Demi's gorgeous.
Yeah.
What a gorgeous woman, you know? And so, yeah, but Britney, there's something about her, man. It was just like, what in the world? And it's weird because sometimes on TV, she doesn't look like, going back and seeing some of the episodes of the X Factor, I'm like, I remember her that night. Mm-hmm. And what I was 5 feet from doesn't look like what it looks like on TV. Like, it didn't. It kind of, you know, she was super hot on TV too, but like it was almost better in person. Does that make sense? It was weird. Yeah. It was weird. Like
perfect sense.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. I know. It's kind of creepy, but not trying to be creepy, but it's true, man. She's a beautiful woman. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's good. They're good questions, man. That's good. Good stuff.
Yeah. Keep them coming, everybody.
Keep them coming. You know, just keep bringing them. We'll keep answering them.
Yeah.
And I won't dodge them. I don't care. You know, I'll say whatever I want. It's my damn show. Oh my goodness, man. So, yeah. Anything? You know what? Speaking of that, let's talk. You know, people loving the shows so far. What they've heard. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good. Let's recap a little bit.
Okay.
So let's go back in the first 3 shows. So first show was just me talking about me on the X Factor. Mm-hmm. My time, what happened, kind of how it went down. Anything from that one that you can say that was kind of maybe a high point you thought, or a low point, or anything out of the first one?
I thought the part where you're talking about the audition process, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, kind of cool.
Because that's what you don't really get to see.
No. But I believe the voice, what's the other one? American Idol is definitely was the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're all kind of the same. They're all cattle calls. Everybody, thousands of people show up. You go through all the little processes, and then before you ever see the judges, really, or the people, So I think they're all the same, or they pretty much the same. How that works. Yeah. That's cool. I could have expanded on some of the stories and some of the things, but I didn't want to get too involved or too necessarily deep with any of them.
Sure.
We can do that at a later time. I can expand on some stories or something like that.
Sprinkle them in
throughout some of the podcasts. But that's cool. I'll say I did get some feedback from a few friends and even my son on the second podcast with Mike Rogers. People who don't know Mike Rogers, they just kind of learned like, oh, this guy's really super talented guy.
Dude, it's like freakishly talented.
It's dumb.
He's like my, you get like a famous person, you're thinking, okay, that's like my goal.
Right. Yeah.
It's like one of those guys I'm just like, I hate that guy, but he's awesome.
But I love him. I don't know why. It's weird.
Love him, but I hate him.
Yeah,
People aren't supposed to be that good.
Yeah, it's not fair. So Mike and my son's like, Dad, I know Mikey, and I know him, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
So there could have been more stories, and he could have expanded, and it's true. So we'll have Mike back. We'll have him back because he is one of those guys that you need to look up. He is one of those just freakishly talented people that if you love country, you love bluegrass, you love any kind of music, he can do it all. He can play and sing all of it.
Yep.
And he can play every instrument. It's like I said, it's dumb. Like he'll sit behind a drum kit and you're like, oh my God, that's awesome. And he'll pick up a bass guitar and play it and you're like, he's been playing bass his whole life. Then he picks up a guitar and you're like, wow, no, he's been playing that his whole life. Then he sits down behind his steel guitar and plays some awesome stuff and he's like, yeah, I don't even know what I'm doing. And I'm like, well, that sounded like a record, so I don't, picks up a banjo and a mandolin. I mean, it's just crazy. He sit down behind a piano and play it.
Sickening.
And then sing every harmony part perfectly. Mm-hmm. And then make up some harmony parts. You know what I mean? On top of the harmony parts that he already sang. Yeah. It's just crazy, dude. So, and plus being a great writer, too. He's a great songwriter. He's just a super talented guy, man. And so we'll have Mikey back on, though. And we'll tell some stories. We'll tell some road stories back when we were on the road and some bus life stories that are maybe shouldn't be told, but we'll tell them anyway. Jimmy Fortune, our third episode.
Yes.
Jimmy Fortune. High point for me was just listening to his story.
Oh, yeah.
And again, there's another guy, super talented guy. When your first song is a number one hit and you win Writer of the Year, Song of the Year. I mean, what? That doesn't happen.
No.
It just does not happen. And it happened to him several times. Mm-hmm. And just a sweet person, just a good person.
Yeah.
Like never in a bad mood. I've never seen Jimmy in a bad mood. I'm sure he gets in a bad mood. Everybody gets in a bad mood. But sure. I've never seen it. Like you don't even see, like, I don't even think he could get mad. Does that make sense? Like, it's like you could be mean to him and he'd just be like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. It's weird. But the high point for me for that one was just the story. I love the fact that he found a guitar in a dump. And he just played it. He played 2 strings because that was all that was on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They didn't have the money to get him one until he was, 8 or 9 years old?
Something like that, yeah.
And it's like, oh, man, dude. He's just supposed to do it. That's it. He's just supposed to be an artist, So that was, to me, high point of that one, obviously, was just listening to him tell his story. And I'm blessed. And I'm fortunate to be friends with him, and so that's kind of cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm kind of cool. I have some cool friends. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, man. So I think I like the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I think we're getting better, man. I think as we go, as we learn, we're gonna climb these hills, and I think we'll get better.
Yeah.
So
last week with Roger Carson.
Yeah, Roger Carson. What a goober. I'm just kidding. Love him.
He did a great Casey Kasem too.
Oh my God, it was weird, kind of, right?
Right.
It's kind of. I was like, oh, it sounds just like him. It's weird.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, when he started talking like that, I remember Casey Kasem.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember some of that stuff, listening to some of that stuff, and I'm like, oh my God. I went back to being 10 years old. You know what I mean? 12 years old. I'm like, oh, I remember that one, Casey. You know what I mean? That was so cool. That to me, you know, I don't know. I think music. I think that's why music's been such a big part of my life and everything. And you know, not that Casey Kasem was a musician, but
no,
you know,
but
he
I mean,
played the
yeah.
top 40 songs in the country. You
Yep.
know what I mean? And you wanted to hear them. You wanted to hear, and you were hoping that your song, your favorite, was up in the
Right.
you know. Oh man! And he'd always tell those little stories about them.
Mm-hmm.
About, you know, the artist or the song or how it became whatever. That was really cool. I just remember that stuff. So I don't know, man. This is a lot of fun. I hope everybody's enjoying it as much as I am. I'm enjoying this stuff.
Yeah.
Doing this, but all right. Well, you know what? Thanks for listening. I think we can wrap this one up.
Yeah.
We'll just wrap this one up. So, all right, episode number 5. This is episode number 5. So you're listening to Tate Stevens and AJ Kronk on the Sweet Life Podcast with Tate Stevens. Listen, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating. Leave us a comment. Leave us a review, and we'll read them. We learn from them. You know, we laugh at some. You know, whatever it is. But make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any social media outlet that you have. Follow us on that. I haven't started TikToking yet, but I need to, right? Become TikTok famous. I want to be TikTok famous. My nephew today, he came over and he was doing he had in school. This is what they're doing in school. This is where we're at in our world.
Oh, God.
He had to record a video in the TikTok format.
Yeah.
For school. What? Come on, man.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway. All right, guys. Like I said, thanks for listening this week. Episode number 5 is done. We're out. Subscribe. Please subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating. Leave us a review. Anything,
Absolutely.
AJ? What do you got?
I got nothing.
All right, we're out. See ya. Peace.
Ain't this a sweet life?
Hey, guys, thanks for listening. Want to ask a question for a future episode? Well, hit us up on Facebook or Twitter with hashtag Sweet Life Podcast. And be sure to give us a 5-star rating and hit that subscribe button. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to stay up to date on the latest news and information for the Sweet Life Podcast. And we'll see you next time.